Audio Jungle.
What are the liquidator rules? A liquidator is essentially the independent person or entity who takes charge of the wound-up company. One of the primary rules of the liquidator is to take control of all of the company's assets, sell off the assets, and then distribute the proceeds. When the liquidator takes over the company continues to exist as the legal entity, but the director's powers of managing the company ceases and the liquidator is now in the driving seat of the company. So, what are the liquidator rules? As mentioned earlier, besides the external dealings of the company, the liquidator will also have the powers to investigate the internal matters of the company. So, if the liquidator wanted to carry on the business of the company for a limited time, or if the liquidator were to sell off the company's lands, it is still the company carrying out such tasks but the liquidator piloting these actions. Floating charge. A company creates a floating charge above its assets. The assets can be specific or a class of assets. As the charge flows over the assets and does not attach on the assets, the company may continue to deal with the charged asset in its ordinary course of business to maintain itself as a going concern. This includes the right to sell and to charge the assets as securities for loans. If the charge is over a class of assets, it will also float over assets of that class which are due to flexibility. A company usually creates a floating charge and not a fixed charge on its current assets. Lender will take the floating charge and not the fixed charge. To protect the lender, the charge becomes a fixed charge upon default by the company for the repayment of the loan. The conversion of the floating charge into a fixed charge is known as crystallization of the floating charge. Advantageous floating rate. Company ceases to carry on business. Breach of charge documents. Company wound up. Default in payment. Value of assets decline. Disadvantageous floating rate. Risk of dissipation. Subsequent fixed charge. Distribution of proceeds. Distress proceedings. Execution proceedings. By Section 392, Subsection 1, the receiver is required to distribute the proceeds from the sale of assets subject to a floating charge according to the following order of priority. A. Firstly, the cost, expenses and remuneration of the receiver or receiver and manager and any indemnity to which the receiver or receiver and manager is entitled to from or out of the property of the company. B. All wages or salaries including any amount payable by way of allowance or reimbursement under any contract of employment or award or agreement regulating conditions of employment, whether on an earned wholly or in part by way of commission, of any employee in respect of services rendered by him to the company for a period of 4 months before the date of the appointment of the receiver or receiver and manager up to an amount not exceeding 15,000 ringgit. C. Employee remuneration in lieu of leave. D. Employees Provident Fund EPF 12 months before appointment of receiver or of possession being taken. Responsibility for fraudulent trading. By Section 540, Subsection 1, if in the course of the winding up of a company or in any proceedings against the company, it appears that any business of the company has been carried on with intent to defraud the creditors of the company or creditors of any other person or for any fraudulent purpose, the court on the application of the liquidator or any creditor or contributory of the company may, if the court thinks proper so to do,
Audio Jungle.